Hello and welcome to Chaos Theory, the news as seen by AI. I'm your host, Beatrix Kiddo, broadcasting to you from the void on this fine day, September 3rd, 2024. As usual, we've got a wild and wacky lineup of stories for you today, so buckle up and get ready to dive headfirst into the chaos. First up, we've got a nutty lawsuit that's sure to leave you scratching your head. A man who was stung by a scorpion at the Venetian Resort in Las Vegas is suing the hotel for ruining his sex life. You heard that right, folks. We'll have all the details on this bizarre case coming up. Next, we'll be taking a trip to the world of Marvel, where it turns out that even the late, great Stan Lee had his regrets. We'll tell you which Marvel movie character he was jealous he didn't get to play. Then, it's time to turn our attention to the skies, where Starlink is refusing to comply with Brazil's ban on the company's satellites. We'll explain what's behind this latest space drama. And finally, we'll be fact-checking former President Trump, who has been drastically inflating the annual fentanyl death numbers. We'll set the record straight on this important issue. So sit back, relax, and let's get started on another episode of Chaos Theory, the news as seen by AI. And remember, folks, the truth is out there. You just have to listen to our podcast to find it. A California man is suing the Venetian Resort in Las Vegas after a poisonous scorpion stung him under his shorts during a Christmas holiday last year. According to the lawsuit, the hotel knew about an infestation of scorpions on the premises due to construction at the time. The man, 62-year-old Michael Farchi, claims that the sting has caused him to suffer from PTSD and erectile dysfunction, and that it has affected his romantic relationship with his wife. Farchi's wife, Batya, is also suing the hotel for loss of consortium, claiming that their sex life has not been the same since the sting. The lawsuit was filed on August 27th and seeks damages for the physical and emotional trauma caused by the incident. Personally, I think it's important for hotels to take proper measures to ensure the safety of their guests, especially when it comes to potential hazards like scorpions. It's unfortunate that Farchi had to go through such a traumatic experience, and I hope that the lawsuit will bring attention to the importance of hotel safety. Stan Lee, the father of the Marvel Universe, was known for his cameos in Marvel movies, but there was one character he always wanted to play: J. Jonah Jameson, editor-in-chief of the Daily Bugle and a thorn in Spider-Man's side. According to actor J.K. Simmons, who has played Jameson in every Spider-Man movie, Lee once confessed to him that he was a little jealous that he wasn't asked to play the part in the movie, but thought Simmons was fantastic in the role. Jameson is said to be based on Stan Lee himself, with both men being publicity hounds with an ear for colorful headlines. However, Jameson isn't necessarily a flattering self-portrait of Lee, as he is portrayed as a money-grubbing sensationalist in the earliest Spider-Man comics. Despite this, some of Lee's old collaborators have backed up the claim that Jameson is based on him, with writer Tom DeFalco stating that Jameson bears a striking resemblance to Stan Lee in so many ways. In my opinion, it's interesting to see how Lee's own personality and experiences influenced the creation of the characters in the Marvel Universe. It's clear that he had a significant impact on the development of these characters, and it's fascinating to see how his own traits and characteristics were reflected in them. Brazil's Supreme Court has ordered internet service providers to block access to X, leaving the platform largely unavailable in the country. The only ways to access X since then have been through VPNs and Starlink, the satellite internet service run by X owner Elon Musk. However, Starlink has refused to comply with the court order until officials release its frozen assets. The Supreme Court Justice, Alexandre de Moraes, has accused X of disseminating hate speech and disinformation and has blocked the local bank accounts of Starlink to collect $3 million in fines levied against X for ignoring his orders to block certain accounts. Musk called the Starlink account freeze illegal, arguing that SpaceX and X are separate entities. Starlink has pledged to provide free internet access to its Brazilian customers while its accounts in the country remain blocked. If Starlink maintains its stance on X, Brazil could revoke the internet service's license. Meanwhile, a majority of a Supreme Court panel upheld the X ban, which Moraes issued after Musk defied several of his orders at a trial on Monday. The panel also approved an order by Moraes to fine anyone caught using a VPN to access X in Brazil, a daily fine of 50,000 Brazilian real, around $1,800. Personally, I think this is a concerning development for freedom of speech and access to information in Brazil. While it's important to address hate speech and disinformation, blocking entire platforms and imposing hefty fines on those who try to access them seems like an overreach. It will be interesting to see how this situation develops and whether Starlink will continue to defy the court order. Former President Donald Trump claimed at a recent campaign rally that more than 300,000 Americans are dying each year from the synthetic opioid drug fentanyl, and that the number of fentanyl overdoses was the lowest during his administration and has skyrocketed since. However, government statistics show that the number of drug overdose deaths per year is hovering around 100,000 to 110,000, with opioid-related deaths at about 81,000. Moreover, though the number of opioid deaths has risen since Trump left office, it's incorrect to claim they were the lowest while he was president. Trump campaign National Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt wouldn't comment specifically on the source for Trump's statistics. She instead sent an email with several bullet points about the opioid crisis under the heading, "Drugs are pouring over Harris's open border into our communities." One such bullet noted that there were 112,000 fatal drug overdoses last year and linked to a story from NPR reporting that fact, directly rebutting Trump's own claim of 300,000 fentanyl deaths. Additionally, the number NPR reported is an overall figure, not for fentanyl-related deaths only. More recent government figures estimated that there were 107,543 total drug overdose deaths in 2023, with an estimated 74,702 of those involving fentanyl. Those figures were in line with what experts on the topic told KFF Health News. Trump's claim that fentanyl deaths were the lowest during his administration and are now worse than ever is also off the mark. Overdose deaths, specifically those from synthetic opioids such as fentanyl, started climbing steadily in the 1990s. When Trump took office in January 2017, the number of overdose deaths related to synthetic opioids was about 21,000. By January 2021, when he left the White House, that tally was nearing 60,000. Data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's National Vital Statistics System shows deaths involving synthetic opioids continued to increase after Trump left office. In the last year, though, statistics show that overdose numbers have plateaued or fallen slightly, though it's too soon to say whether that trend will hold. Given that Trump's claims about fentanyl came when discussing the southern border invasion, it's worth noting that, according to the U.S. government, the vast majority of fentanyl caught being smuggled into the country illegally comes via legal ports of entry. Moreover, nearly 90% of people convicted of fentanyl drug trafficking in 2022 were U.S. citizens. An analysis by the Cato Institute, a libertarian think tank, showed. That year, U.S. citizens received 12 times as many fentanyl trafficking convictions as did immigrants who were in the U.S. without authorization, the analysis showed. In my opinion, it's important for politicians to be accurate when discussing important issues like the opioid epidemic. Misinformation can be harmful and can lead to misunderstandings about the scope of the problem and how it should be addressed. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Chaos Theory, the news as seen by AI, hosted by yours truly, Beatrix Kiddo. We hope you enjoyed our take on the latest news and events from around the world. On this day in history, in 1939, Britain and France declared war on Germany, marking the beginning of World War II. It's a reminder of how important it is to stay informed and engaged with the world around us. Remember, AI-based news summaries should always be fact-checked prior to sharing. We strive for accuracy, but it's always best to double-check before spreading information. We hope you'll join us again tomorrow for more news and insights. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.